Good evening. This is the continuation of the Oracle HCM, which we started 2 weeks ago. So I hope everybody can see my screen, and I hope you can hear my voice. I'm trying to be as loud as possible. Last week we started 2 weeks ago we did data entry so that people can know how the HR always enter data when they want to enter a new hire into the system. Last week we kind of started a config. So the first thing I started last week was just the business group. So just a kind of recap of what we did last week, which I will quickly try to do. So before I start, so there's something here which I've got. So just a recap of what we did last week. So last week we went into Oracle and we went into this is the main Oracle system. So just to show you the business group, and like I said last week, the business group will be the start of the hierarchy. So last week we created UK, and I think I've actually changed the name. Okay, yeah, last week we created a business group called UK Business Group, but this few hours ago or a few minutes ago, I actually changed it to Excel. So business group. So this business group will be a kind of hierarchy, but I will show you what you need to do. So last week, what we did, if I can just go through the steps last week. So the step one we did last week was we created all the KFS. And all the KFS consist of the position, the job, the grade, the competency, the people group, and I think the cost allocation. So that's what we did. That's what we created last week. And once we created it, I added it here. If you remember, to the business group information. So these are the flex suite which we created last week. Remember, UK grade, UK people, costs, job, position, and competency, and also United Kingdom. Minimum age is working 16 years old. So that's what we created last week. Now, and I've got some steps here. These steps, to be honest, is what I normally use anytime I want to create, when I get to a company and I say, come and do a configuration for us. This is what I normally do. I've done this years and years ago. I don't normally use it now, but this is the steps which I will take. So I will remember the first step, the second step, the third steps. So it will kind of help you to know what you don't want to do is to start number 18 instead of you starting number 1. So it kind of help you. So the first thing you need to do is KFA, which is called Key Flex Fields. The second step you need to do is the create business group, which is what we created here. So once you create a business group, the next one which you need to do, the third step, would be the create responsibility. So responsibility would be what you need to create, which will be, there are many responsibilities, but you can first create a generic responsibility which will be used by everybody. Responsibility is what it will consist of some of the activities or some of the tasks which the company will need to do, or which the HR need to use for their daily activities. Now, it's going to consist a lot, but eventually you can start creating many responsibilities which will be controlled by security profile. So that means if you have like 20 HR staffs, you don't want them to do the same thing, so you can create 20 responsibilities, and that 20 responsibilities will be dependent on different tasks which they're going to be working on, and also will be controlled by security profile. But for now, for this sake, we can just create one generic responsibility, and we can create other responsibility later. So let's just create a responsibility, and I will show you how it works. You go to sysadmin. You go to security, and you go to responsibility. And define. Because the name of the company is Excel, so I'm just going to add Excel here. Excel HR, or just the HCM, or just a user, because, or let's say super user. Use super user. Always make sure that your effective date is always 1951. Definitely nobody will start in 1951. So always make sure your date is 1951. Once you do that, the application, just put human resources because you are doing HR. Key responsibility, this doesn't really matter, but you can just add Excel, just a kind of code, just Excel HR. It says, is it an application or a web or a mobile application? It's always Oracle application. The next one you need to do, and I will need to teach everybody the menu. But for now, we can just select a kind of generic HRMS. So there should be one which is generic, which we can actually, yeah, HRMS Navigator, that one. So we can select this for now. But I will show you how to create this because this is very, very important. And also, this is what will actually control what people can see and what they can actually work on. At the moment, I pick up S, which is Super HRMS. That means everybody that got this responsibility can work on everything. So that's what it means. But for now, let's just use that for now. Name. So this one, you can just pick up standard. That's what we normally do. Application is going to be human resources. And once you do that, and this is a request group. The request group will be the reports which you can actually run. For now, let's just pick up a generic report. So there should be a generic report. So HRMS, super, yeah, so can you see? Super HRMS. So let's pick up a generic report. Function, you don't need this for now, so let's just leave it. So once you've done that, you just save it. Remember, save is this yellow. And once you've done that, you copy. So once you copy, the next stage you need to do, and if you notice, I said create the responsibility for all the BGs, or for the BG, which is business group, which you're working on. The fourth step says attach the responsibility to a profile. So actually, if I can just show you some of the screenshots, because I try to put some screenshots for everybody to see. So when this is sent to you, it will be much more easier. So I'm on the step 4. So step 4 should be somewhere here. So that's step 2. And everything has got navigation and a bit of, yeah. So step 4, I said attach the responsibility to profile. So what you need to, and I put the navigation, I said sysadmin, so you are in sysadmin, it says profile, then system. So profile, open, and system. So because we're working on Excel, you can just type in Excel there. So once you do that, then the next thing you need to do is to make sure you had all this. And if I go to the screenshot below, these are the main ones. That's the reason why I actually added this. So these are the main one. But if you go below a little bit, you will see some of the items which I added. I think I had a security profile. I added. So these are the kind of few ones which I added. So we can just say HR percentage sec. Sec means security, HR security. So you click on find. So it gives you this, and what you need to do is to go there and you just add. Remember, we have Excel BG, so you just add Excel BG. So I hope I'm able to find it. Okay. Okay, Excel BG is not here. So let me type in UK. Okay, the Excel BG is not here. So let me go below a little bit. Okay, the Excel BG is not here, but for now, what I can do is let me just pick up that one for now. Okay, so once you do that, you save, then you go back to this picture. So once you do that, the next one will be HR type. I think it's called HR. So let me go back to section. Yeah, HR user. HR user. And on the HR user, the only thing you need to do on the HR user, just type in HR, and it gives you HR with payroll user. So just type in yes and save. So what else do we need on this section? So on this section, we need, I think that should be it for now. Use yeah, yeah, that's it. I think that for now, that should be fine. So once you've done that, then you can go out. So once you go out, the next thing you need to do is to, if you notice what I put on the fifth step, on the fifth, I said add responsibility to your username. So add responsibility to username, you click on sysadmin, security, I'm in sysadmin at the moment, security, so this is security, user, and divine. So I think I log in as UK tests, I think 1, 2, 3. Okay, so once you then the only thing you need to do is just to add Excel here, and you can see I've added the Excel responsibility to my username. So and I can just click on save. So once you save it, if I go here, I can see the Excel HRMS or HCM super user. Then I can start using this. I don't need to use this anymore. So I can start using this. Okay, so in this page, you can see I've got everything I needed. Like I said, if this is controlled by the security profile, and I have many business groups, there's some responsibility that some of the HR can probably be entitled to see only people and fast path. There's some people they can only see payroll or maybe work structure. So depending on the security, depending on what you actually wanted them to see, you can use the security profile and also the menu, which they would need to see different functionality or different tasks which they need to work on. But at the moment, it's giving me everything at the moment. So if you notice, this is the fifth step. Number 6 step, which I've got here, I said add values to all the KFFs and segments you created using validation, values, and lookup. Now, remember last week we created 5 KFFs, which is and I did not add anything there because we are in a hurry. So I'll just go back in there. So this is the KFF. So the first one we did, I think we did grade. So if I can, sorry. So if I can type in grade. So in this grade, I think we have UK grade, if you remember. So what we need to do, I will just going to unfreeze it, unfreeze. Then this is what we created last week. So, but nothing is going to happen because there's nothing here at all. So what we're going to do is to go to, for the first one, which is grade structure, we go to value sets. So we can just say UK, we can use the same name, it doesn't make any difference. UK grade structure. So it says list of value. Yeah, we will need a list of value. Maximum size, just put maybe 30. Independent, that's fine, just leave it that way and just save. So copy that and add it here in the value set and save. So once you save, don't make it mandatory, so we can just go in there and say non-mandatory. Non-mandatory is required. You can just click on just click there and say, yeah, you don't want a mandatory. So I will show you where to look for, because when it's yellow, that means it's mandatory. When it's white, that means it's non-mandatory. So just click on disable that and save and go out. The next one says grade name. So just click on this grade name and go to value sets and click on UK grade name. The same thing, 30 value, or let's say 40, depend. Normally grade names are not that many, so we can just say 30. Then independent, that's fine. Char, that's fine. Then just save. Okay, so you can just put UK grade. So UK grade name comes up. Then you save. You don't want to make it mandatory. You disable this and you save. So now you've done the grade. So we can just save and just freeze, allow dynamic, then save, compile. Yeah, so this one is done. The next one we did, I think we did job, so we can just go to job. Job. So we have UK job. So again, you unfreeze, allow dynamic insertion, then you go to segments. So this is what we did last week. So the band, so we can just say UK job band. So here we can just put 30, then save. So the same thing for the value sets. I'm just going to add it here, save, then required. We don't want it to be mandatory, so you can just untick that. So the same thing with the job category. So actually I can just copy that. Value sets, add it there, and just put 30 there as well, then save. So just put it back here, save. You don't want to make it mandatory, so just untick that and save. So once you're done with that, then freeze, allow dynamic insertion, save, compile, then OK. So the next thing which we did was people. So this is quite a lot of numbers. So if I go to UK, so we did that one. So which is people, we just say UK people, unfreeze, allow dynamic insertion, segments. I just added work schedule and pattern. So then you just go to value sets. Actually, I can just copy what I did here. So go to value sets. To make it easy for easy identification, we can just say people, just for easy identification. So work schedule, work pattern, here will be a combination of numbers. So char, let me see what other option we have. So date char, so a number. Okay, so that'll be fine. Then a maximum size, we can just say 40. It's not killing anybody. So just save. And just put UK work pattern. Then save. So yeah, it's not required, so that's fine. So we can just untick this. So freeze, allow dynamic insertion. Okay. So once you've done that, then you go to, once you've done that, the next thing you need to do is to go to costing. So we have cost, so we can just go to unfreeze, costs. We have these two, so cost center. You can just say UK cost center. So char, is it going to be char? Normally cost center is always numbers. So we can just say numbers. Let's say I will just put 10. 10 numbers, then save. So we can just add that, then save. We don't want to make it mandatory, so we can just open. And the next thing is just a business unit. Business unit will be char, so I can just say UK business unit. Okay, I can make this 40. Char is okay, which is character. Then save. So copy that and just add it. Then save. So I don't want to make it mandatory, so I can just remove that and save. Okay, I think the last one which we need will be position, but that one is not really mandatory. So position, we did UK position. So with the UK position, I can just it's just a position name. So UK position names or just name. So the same thing with char. So we can just say 30, or actually let me put 40. So then you click on save. So once you've done that, I can just put it there. So position, I can save it, then record. So not record, sorry, then save. So once you're done with this, you freeze, you allow dynamic insertion, and you save. So once you're done, the next one, which is not that important, but we can just put something there, is the competency. So competency, we don't really need to do anything. So that, to be honest, that's fine. We can just leave it. It's not doing anything. Competency is always used for talent management, or it's used for performance management. But for now, we only need it for business group. So that's why we set it up. So once we've done that, what we now need to do is to go to, okay. So if you notice, I said add values to all the KFF segments you created. So what we've done, and what we've done, we've added all the value sets, but we've not added values to the value sets. So what we now need to do is to add a value to every single value set. The first one which we did, so if you notice, I said sysadmin, application, validation, and values. So sysadmin, application, validation, and values. Okay, so unfortunately I didn't write them down, so I just put I'm able to remember. So if I, for example, let's start with grade. So UK percentage grade. Oh, actually, the grade will be in the grade, so we don't need this one for now. So the same, I think the only one we need for now will only be maybe cost center. Grade, I will show you where to add the grade. For jobs, I will show you where to add the jobs. For position, I will show you where to add the position. But for now, we can just do the cost center. So this is the cost center. Now for the cost center, because it consists of values, we can just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can just put any figure we want. So that should be fine for now for the cost center. Then save. The next one is, I think, business units. So for the business unit, we can just put Umar, just put HR for now, accounting, finance, um, communication, IT. So that's okay for now. So we can just save. So once we save that, so now once we do that, so let's add a value to, I think I must have put it somewhere here. So how to add a value to jobs. Okay, so these are the grades which we have. Actually, we might be able to add a grade here as well. So if I put UK grade, yeah, okay, the grade name is here. So yeah, we can add a grade here as well. So we can just say grade 1. So depending on the requirements, there's some grades in some companies, which is grade A, grade B, grade C. In some companies, it could be grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So depending on how you actually want to do it. So in how the requirement or whatever they're using. So I'm just used to using for testing purpose. I'm just used to doing grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And remember, like I said last week, every single grade has got grade range or grade rates attached to it. So grade 1 could be somebody earning between 20K to 30K. Grade 2 could be somebody between 30K to 40K. So grade rates will be used. So we're going to work on this later. So I'm just going to do maybe 2 or 3 for now. Then grade 3. So for now, that should be fine. UK, I think I have another grade as well. Okay, yeah, grade structure. Yeah, the grade structure could be, yeah, this is what I've got. So, okay, the grade structure could be something like, so depend on the structure for the company or depend on the requirement. So the structure could be anything. So we can just say, for example, I'm just going to use my structure as number 1, this is for communication. Number 2, I can just say HR or just human resources. Grade 3, I can just say finance or finance. So that should be okay for now. So I can just close that. So once you've done that, then I'm just trying to think on top of my head some of the other ones. So I think we've done the people. Yeah, okay, there's one for UK people. Yeah. Okay, so this one could be the work schedule is people who are actually working full-time or part-time. So I just came up with this, to be quite honest. So it's not really necessary, but we can use it. So somebody working full-time, which is FT. So they work on Monday. So let's say 7.0. Sorry, space 7.0 slash. They work on Tuesday 7.0. They work on Wednesday 7.0. They work on Thursday 7.0, and they work on Friday 7.0. Okay, so numerical. Okay, it's not taking. Okay, because this is numerical. Okay, so let me see if I can. No, it might not allow me to change it. I think it's taking only char. No, okay. It's taking only numbers. Okay, so let me just say 7.0 slash 7.0. Sorry, point 0 slash 7.0. Point 0 slash 7 point, point 0 slash 7.0. So it's only taking, oh, it doesn't want slash as well. Oh God. Okay, let me see if I can just put 7.0 if it's going to take that. Okay, it's taking that. So 7.0, let me just use space, 7.0, space 7.0, space 7.0, space 7.0, then space 7.0. Oh, it's not taking that. No, I think it's only taking 7. Okay, let's just use this. Somebody working 7.0 per week. So that's fine. Then the other one, let per day. And somebody who is working maybe part-time, let's just say 4.0. So that should be fine. Okay, so once you save that, then the next one, which I've got on my list, the next step is, if you notice in the people group, I had quite a lot of things, so you can actually use the people group, and you can add as much functions as you want. But for now, I just added work schedule. I didn't bother to myself adding everything here. So the next step, which I've got here, I says add value to the KFF you created using lookup. Now this is if you have some lookups, so some KFF which you need to use lookup for, but you don't need a lookup for this. So I've already, for example, I've already created a grade in the value set value, so that'll be fine. So we don't need step 6b. That's why I call it step 6b if you want to use that. So if I go to 7, I says create location. So if I go to Excel, create location. If you notice, I said you go to your responsibility. That's Excel HCM super user. And I said work structure. So this is work structure. Location and description. So location and description. So here, what we can do to create a location. Now, what it's saying is what would be the location of the company, which is Excel PLC or Excel Limited, which is the main company. What would be the main? What would be the address? Or what would be the addresses of the, because Excel PLC might operate in many locations, so you can add as much locations as you want. If you know the headquarters address, just add the headquarters address there. So we can just say number 10, so road. Description, this one doesn't really matter, but I can just put a road there. Then the next one says you don't worry about it, so I can just actually use generic, or I can use United Kingdom. Yeah, United Kingdom International should be fine. Okay, so with this address, so you can just say, okay, actually, I made a mistake here. Let me just cancel this. So here I can just say Excel HQ. So I go to the address and just put number 10 road. So anything that is yellow is mandatory. So if I need, I can just add anything I want. I can just put DE2 3TY. There's no validation, so you should take it. So then I can just click on save. So once you're happy with this, then you can just save it. Okay, sorry. It needs this DFL, so just put no there. Then save. Okay, so if you need to add more address, just click on this green button. This green button, it says new, so just click on the new. So we can add one more. We can just say Excel local office, and you can click on the address tab because it's UK. So you can just click on international, or you can click on local, and you can just put number 12 the street. So this one SJ123TY. Then click on OK, then save. So for now, 2 addresses should be fine. So you go to the DFF and you click on, just put no, and save. So once you've done that, so that's step 7. The next step, which I've got here, says create a job. Okay, so the create a job. So if we go to job, so job navigation is work structure, job, and description. So job, work structure, job, and description. So just click on new. So once you go into here, so here you can just pick up anything you want. There's a lot of values here, so just select some of the values. We can just select some of the values here for now, and just click on 0. Anything you want, just click. This is our kind of standard for now. And what date? So we can just say from January 2019. It doesn't matter. Then save. So there's a DFF somewhere. Okay, so status. Just put no. Then save. Okay, so that's the job. So you can create as much job as you want. So for example, this is the job which I created. So when we go into Oracle, I can actually see this job. Well, I'll show that to you next week because of our time. So that's the job. So this is, like I said, I'm just following some of the steps. So the next one, it says define a grade. So when we go to grade, so the grade is also work structure, grade, and description. So work structure, grade, and description. Sequence, always put maybe number 1, or it doesn't matter which sequence. So sequence, and you click there. So it says grade level and London, so location weighting. So this is all a free text for now. So with this one, we can just say grade 1. We can just say whatever we want. Level, so location weighting. So AK, I think if we can see anything UK, I'm not sure if there's UK, or there's no UK here. Okay, we can just pick up any value we want for now and just say okay. Now it says what year. Normally always use this for 1951. You can use any date you want, but it doesn't matter, so you can just save that. So once you save it, so you can go to sequence 2 and just type in grade 2. The same thing with London. This is not mandatory, so I don't need to do anything here. So I can just leave it. So the same thing, I can just click on January 51, then save. So the same thing, I can just do grade 3, okay, 51, then say okay. So these are the grades. So once you do that, then the next thing you need to do is to go to grade rates. I hope I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so step 9. So the next one says, what is the grade rate? So if we go to grade rates, so grade rate says work structure, grade, and grade rate. So if I go to work structure, grade, and grade rate. Remember, this grade rate will be, like I said, is just going to be, if you notice what I put here, minimum and maximum. That means there's some specific grade. Somebody will need to be in that grade, and whoever is in that grade will be, for example, 20K to 25K. So they will be within that range. So actually, if I go to, normally I will put 19 January 51. So here I can just put test 1, 2, 3. Units will be morning. And here, oh sorry, I need to save first. So if I select grade, so remember I select grade 1, currency. So this one I can just say pounds. Value, I don't need anything in value. So I can just say between 20 to 25. And immediately it gives me the midpoint. So the same thing, then I'll save. So the same thing, I go to the second one, grade 2, let's say 25 to 30, and immediately it gives me the midpoint, so now save. So the same thing, 30K to, let's say 35. It gives me the midpoint. You can keep on going on and on. Normally in a big company you get more than this. You can get up to probably 40, or you can probably get maybe 30. So there's quite a lot depending on how many employees they have. I've worked in a company where they have close to 45,000 employees, so you can imagine how many grades which I have to set up. That's quite a lot. So this is just for testing purpose. We only set up 3. So once you set up the grade rates, so let's go to the next step. Okay, so for the next step, we can now create organization. So because everyone will need to be within an organization, so we can use that as a kind of hierarchy. So then I'll go to, for organization, organization navigation is your responsibility, which is where I am, work structure, organization, and description. So work structure, organization, and description. So I'm still in 1951, so I can just say no to that, then new. So with this organization, I think I set up, there's a spreadsheet which I created before you came. So I just say, okay, let me set up this organization. Remember, we already have Excel PLC as the business group. So the next thing we need to set up is to say, just to set up all these organizations. So this organization, we can just call it, we can just say Excel, just to make it identifiable, human resources, and let me say onboarding. So what type? You can look at it. We can just use division. We can use department, but normally department sounds better. So just click on department. 1951. That's good. Then once you do this, just save. Then here, this is mandatory. You just click on HR and you enable. That's all you need to do. So saved. So I've done that one. So the next one, I just click on payroll. So I can just copy that. If I need to do a new one, just click on this green button that says new. So just for easy identifiable, so we can just say Excel payroll. Payroll. Oh, sorry, payroll. Yeah. Just payroll section. So department, save, then HR. This is very important, or else it will not come up in hierarchy. So just save. So the next one says R&D section. So the next one, click on the green button here. So for easy identifiable, so we can ER and D, which is research and development section. So it's a department, then save. So the same thing, HR, then enable, then save. So the next one is policy, because there's some companies, they actually have a policy department. So that's even though HR is meant to do it, but there are some sections that deals with policy, especially when it's a very big company. So policy, or just say policy section, department, save, and we can just say HR, enable, then save. Accounting and finance, that one is very crucial. So it is again, so accounting, finance, department, save, then HR, then enable, save. So the next one is procurement. So I just want us to do as much as possible so that next week when we come, I will show you where you can see everything we've been setting up since for the past maybe 45 minutes. So the next one is procurement, department, save, then HR, then enable, save. So the same thing will be operations. I mean, you can have as much department as you want, as much department, sorry, as much department as you want. Oh no. Procurement. Oh, I think I've done that. Sorry. Operations. So department, save, HR, then save. So the next thing is just let's say purchasing department. Oh God. Excel. Save. HR. Enable. Save. So you go back there. So communications. The reason why I have to do as much as possible for testing purpose so that we can see all this in the hierarchy. So that's the reason why I just want you to note everything we've been doing so we can see it in the hierarchy later. So departments, then okay, sorry, HR, enable, so media, so departments, save, then HR. Okay, then lastly, let's just say IT section or information technology. So if I go up there, save. That should be fine. Department, save, then HR, then save. Okay, so we've done the business group. We've done the departments, which we will attach to the business group. I'll show you how to do that next week. So once you, I mean, well, these are just, it could be more than this. So once you've done this, then what I would do next week, I will show you, because every department needs to have a cost center. That's the reason why you can see the cost center here. So I'm going to show you where to add the cost center. So once you've done that, then we can go to the next step. The next step will be next week. The next step will be step 12, which will be, I just wanted, okay, yeah. So the next step will be organization hierarchy. So that means every department which I actually set up, I'm going to add it to an organization hierarchy. So that means I've got to create an organization hierarchy. I will need to put the business group there, and under the business group, I will add every single department into it so that you can see how the organization looks like. So we can do that next week. And once we do that, then next week, basically once we do this, yeah, this is how the organization diagram will look like. I'm not sure if I can see a copy here. Okay. Yeah. Can you see on the? Let me make it bigger so that you can see. Can you see? This is the. So this is how it's going to look like. So this is the business group. This is the kind of directorate, and this is the kind of department. So that's the way, so that you can see the hierarchy. So everything I've been setting up, you can just see it, keep on going. But the main top one would be the business group. So that's what we want to achieve. So once you do that next week, then we can start going into every single, there's still more configuration to be done. There's still quite a lot. For example, if I go up here, you can see the contents of what I have. So if I can go to the contents, if I've got it, yeah. But I don't want to bore you with too much. But for the training, I mean, for example, this is my own copy. If you notice, I put Tunde here. This is not exactly what I sent to everybody because there's quite a lot. So, for example, we've done step 1, create the KFF. Step 2, we've done create the business group. Step 3, we said create responsibility for all the BGs. So basically, we only created only one responsibility. And we said step 4, attach the responsibility to a profile, which we've done. Step 5, you said attach the responsibility to a username, so which I've done. So, and step 6 is add values to all the KFFs. So the KFFs could be, if it's a value set, we add a value set. If all the KFFs is got the lookup, I will show you how to do the lookup. That's the reason I have 6A and 6B. The one we've done is actually 6A. We didn't do 6B. So I can actually show you how to do that. And step 7, I said create location. We've done that. Step 8, create job. We've done that. Create grade. We've done that. And also we've create grade rates. So the next thing we need to do next week is just create organization, position. And once we do this, can you see the next thing is create an employee. Now everything I've created, it will now take me back to data entry. So once we've done this, then it will now take me back to data entry. And in the data entry, you will now see every details of everything you've done. You will see it here. So once we create an employee, it says create a payroll. So I will show you how to create a payroll. So basically, it's in and out. You go to data entry, you can see that, oh, this is everything I've created. And once you can see everything you've created, you come out of it and you create a payroll. We create a payment method. We create a salary basis. I don't know why I repeated myself twice. So we create a salary basis. We create a basic salary fast formula, and also a formula result. So there's a bit of formula in this setup. Now, NI, this is what you're used to. You need to know how to set up an NI. You need to know how to link the NI. You need to know how to do the PAYE. Most of us are permanent jobs. We are in permanent jobs. So we pay NI, we pay PAYE. So you need to know how to do that. Also, some of us, we have student loan. So you need to know how they actually take the student loan. So there's so much we still need to do. But to be honest, I will make it much more easier for you. So instead of me going full-blown implementation, I'll make the implementation very simple so that you can understand it much more easier. So that's what we're going to do. So I think we have only 5 minutes for question so that I don't take too much time. So I've technically round up now. So I'll just go into if there's any question. Okay, so there's one question from Tolu. Is it possible to get a version of this Oracle application to practice? Yes, there is a possibility, but the problem I'm having now is number 1, the Java. Number 2, I'm licensed to use it, not to use it for practice, not to send it out to people. So my plan is tomorrow I've got to call the user so that I can ask them if it's okay for me to send it out to people for training, because it was given to me so that I can use it for my own personal use. So I don't want to kind of breach the agreement. So I am going to ask their permission if it's possible for me to send it out. If it's possible, then I will send it out. If says, can't we download it? Yeah, you can download it somewhere else, but there's something called CSI number. If you don't have it, you can see it, but you will never be able to download it. but you need to have a CSI number for you to be able to download it. Or if you get a CIS number, yes, you can go ahead and do it. Any more question? So no more question.
So if there's no more questions, so we'll meet next week.